This is basically averages. Averages, I am assuming most of you know what is an average. If you are given a sum of a number of observations, you add all of them and then you divide it by the number of observations, you get the average. For example, if you are told that there are boys in a classroom, the heights of the boys are given. The heights of the boys is say 60 centimeters, 65 centimeters, some 70 centimeters. Say there are 3 boys. One of them is 60, one of them is 65, one of them is 70. What is the average height of the boys? The average height of the boys is the sum of their heights, which is 60 plus 65 plus 70 divided by 3. You will notice that this will equal 195 by 3, which is 65. So the average height of the boys is their total height divided by the number of boys, which will come to 65 centimeters. Similarly, if there are say number of girls, suppose there are only 2 girls, and suppose their height is say 80 centimeters and 90 centimeters. What is the average height of the girls? The average height of the girls is the sum of their heights, which is 80 plus 90 divided by 2. This will come to 170 divided by 2, which is 85. So the average height of the girls is 85. Now here we will be discussing something called the weighted average. What is weighted average? Suppose somebody asks you, they give you this information. They tell you that there are 3 boys whose average height is 65 centimeters and there are 2 girls whose average height is 85 centimeters. What is the total average of the class? Then we need to find out the weighted average. Weighted average simply means that you multiply the number of boys with their average, you multiply the number of girls with their average, and then you divide by the total number of people. It should not mean that the average of the class is not equal to the average height of the boys plus the average height of the girls divided by 2. This won't be the average. This won't be the average because the number of boys is different from the number of girls. So the average height will be number of boys, which is 3, into the average height of the boys plus number of girls into the average height of the girls divided by the total number of boys plus total number of girls. This is basically what weighted average means. So suppose you are given 2 different quantities and you are given the weights of each of the quantity. Weights in this particular case is the number of boys and the number of girls. Then the average is calculated, the weighted average is calculated as the number of people into their average plus the number of the second type of people into their average divided by the total number of people. This is basically weighted average. We can look at the first question. So in this particular question, we are told that a class has boys and girls in the ratio of 2:3. So we have some boys and we have some girls. A teacher administers a test and notes down the average marks scored by boys and girls separately. Let the average marks of boys be B and the average marks of girls be G. Because the number of boys and number of girls, that ratio is 2:3. Let us assume that the number of boys is 2x and number of girls is 3x. Then she finds out the average marks scored by the entire class. What is the average marks scored by the entire class? We have to use the weighted average. We have to use the weighted average because the number of boys and the number of girls is not the same. If the number of boys and the number of girls is the same, we can just average their averages. But because the number of boys and the number of girls is different, we have to use weighted average. And what is the weighted average of this? That will be 2x, the actual average. Will be 2x, which is the number of boys, into B plus 3x into G divided by the total number of students, which is 2x plus 3x, which is 5x. This will come to equal 2B plus 3G divided by 5. This is the actual average. This is the average that she should have calculated. But the teacher made a mistake and the teacher adds the average marks scored by the boys and girls and divides by 2 and notes it down as the average mark of the class. So noted average, which is not the right average, is B plus G by 2. This should have been the average calculated, but this is the average that was actually falsely noted down. If it was known that the average calculated was 3 marks higher than the actual average. So what we are basically told is that this is 3 higher than the actual average. So B plus G by 2 is equal to 2B plus 3G divided by 5 plus 3. Now multiply the entire equation with 10 so that we can remove the denominators. So we are going to get 5B plus 5G is equal to 4B plus 6G plus 30. You can simplify it as B minus G is equal to 30. What is B? B is the average marks scored by the boys. G is the average marks scored by the girls. So the difference between the average marks scored by the boys and the girls will be 30. The cost of a diamond is proportional to the square of its weight. What does this mean? Whenever you are told that cost is proportional to the square or the square root or it is directly proportional, you should know how to represent that in an equation. If you are given that the cost of a diamond is proportional to the square of its weight, cost will be basically some constant k into the square of its weight, which is weight square. This is basically what we are told. So suppose there is a diamond which is of weight 1 kg. If its cost is say x, another diamond which has a weight 3 kgs, its cost will be 9x. It won't be 3x, it will be 9x because the cost is increasing as the square of the weight. Suppose another diamond is of weight 4 kgs, then the cost will be 16x. That is what is being told to us. Now what we are told is that there is one diamond which broke into 5 pieces with weights in the ratio of 3:2:1:2:3. So the weights are 3:2:1:2:3. So there was a big diamond, it broke into 5 parts. The weights of the individual parts are 3:2:1:2:3. So let us assume that the weights are 3x, 2x, x, 2x and 3x. So there was a big diamond, it broke into 5 parts. These are the individual weights of the 5 parts. So what is the weight of the original diamond? Original weight will be the sum of these 5 weights, which is 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3. 3 plus 2 plus 1 is 6 plus 2 plus 3 is 11. So the original weight is 11x. So what is the original cost? Original price will be a constant k into 121x square because it is proportional to the square of its weight. And what is the new price of each of the individual ones? The price of this 3x will be k into 9x square. The price of this diamond of weight 2x is k into 4x square. The price of this diamond which is x is k into x square. The price of this diamond which is of weight 2x is k into 4x square. And the price of this diamond whose weight is 3x is k into 9x square. So the total price of all of these 5 diamonds combined is the sum of these 5 prices. 9 plus 4 is 13, plus 13 plus 1 is 27. So this is 27 kx square. The original diamond was worth 121 kx square. Then it broke into 5 pieces and this is the total sum of the weight of the 5 diamonds. What we are told is that this difference is 5700. So 121 kx square minus 27 kx square is equal to 51,700, or the value of 94 kx square is equal to 51,700. What are we asked to calculate? We are asked to calculate the original price of the diamond. The original price of the diamond is 121 kx square. So if 94 kx square is 51,700, what is 121 kx square equal to? In this, we have to just multiply it diagonally and divide by this, which is 121 divided by 94 into 51,700. You can use your calculator to figure it out. 51,700 divided by 47, I think, is equal to 11. And 94 divided by 47 is equal to 2. So this will be equal to 121 into 550. What is 121 into 5? 121 into 55 we can calculate. This will be 5, 605 and 605. This will be 5, 5, 6, 6, 0, because we have to multiply 121 with 550. So this will be 66,550, which is option D.